What'd you get?
I'll tell you, man. All right, so we're live.
What'd you buy me?
We're live.
We're live.
We're live. We do this.
Some
I like
people
to
told me
surprise Dr. V.
it was Formal Friday. I call
Right.
it's Fish Friday to me.
Fish Friday. It's a very informal Friday for me. It looked like I've been out in the woods.
Whoa.
So today we're going to talk about lifestyle, designing your lifestyle and your lifestyle business.
Sounds good. Who are you?
Yeah. I'm John Paduchak, JohnPaduchak.com, and Targeted Niche Solutions is my digital agency.
I love that name, Targeted Niche Solutions.
Now No, not niche. Net Solutions.
Targeted Net Solutions. I am so sorry.
But that's a pretty good name too. I have to remember.
Targeted. Yeah, I like that. That's going to be mine. I'm changing my name to Targeted Niche Solutions. And I am Dr. Christopher Vogelman of. Actually, I just came off of Total Health Live with my friend Monica.
You should talk about everything.
I'm coming off of all kinds of things. And so Maximize Your Media is our digital agency, and Life Beyond Practice is my doctors group where we teach doctors how to escape the exam room to build their own online businesses.
Very
so they can have fun. And we were talking about earlier, this is sort of our happy hour Friday, despite the fact that Troy's come up with his solution. What are you imbibing, or should I say, what are you enjoying as your beverage for today?
I got two things actually today.
You got two things?
I got two things. I actually have a glass of red wine, glass of Cabernet.
What kind is it?
Cabernet.
Oh, Cabernet.
Cabernet. And I've got a cup of tea.
A cup of tea?
Like a combination.
For today, it was, and I said this to you, it wasn't a case of one-upsmanship, but there's only one beer left in the house. Oh, now it's live.
Yeah, we've been live.
Which I just got the message that it's live.
That's funny. Delayed. Everything's on delay around here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no kidding. Because so earlier I did StreamYard and I could not get out of the studio. And so finally I just had to delete the entire studio, and that's how the broadcast ended. Because the red button would not work. The red button would not work. No. And Red Buttons was old time.
I know. I liked him. He was good.
He was very good. So I'm not doing red wine, but I am doing my new guilty pleasure, which is French brandy.
French brandy.
That
sounds pretty good.
By my brother-in-law, and I have now discovered this is like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. It almost looks like, does that look like should be a medallion for a car or something? It looks almost like it
definitely looks like it needs to be on somebody's coat of arms.
Well, it is a coat of arms.
There you go.
It's about to coat my stomach. But this stuff, I'm just amazed at how good this stuff is.
And this is our lifestyle. How many people, like you said, how many people let you drink at work?
Yeah. Who lets you drink at work? You do. You have a lifestyle business.
Yeah.
Well, it's the end of the day for you, but I still have another 4 hours of work to go. So that's why I'm only having a very small amount.
I feel like I still have another 4 hours of work to go.
Maybe you do. But my second beverage is not tea. It is agua.
Agua. Yes, I have that too. I have.
So then you really have three beverages.
I have several things here.
Okay.
I'm in pretty good shape.
But don't drink out of the bunny bowl.
I will not do that. I'm in the wrong part of the house for that anyways.
I think I'm going to put my earbud on because I'm getting a little feedback.
Okay. Sounds good.
But
it's been an interesting Friday. Lots of
what did you do today? Tell me a story.
Tell you a story. I just like to see all the cool comments people are making on Facebook, and
making cool comments.
I've one of my friends was talking to me today about Conan O'Brien popping in on people's work Zooms, and I said, "Oh, that's so funny." So I had to go watch one. It's hysterical. Why can't Conan O'Brien pop in like on one of our live streams or something?
Well, you gotta. I could reach out to him.
I gotta tag him and say, "Hey, Conan."
He was another Harvard undergrad. Should talk to him.
There you go.
I also wish that I had gone to the Hasty Pudding and the National Lampoon Castle, or the Harvard Lampoon. Sorry, not National Lampoon Castle.
I used to watch the Hasty Pudding Parade every once in a while.
They were wild.
They're crazy. Yes.
Wild.
Harvard's a cool place.
Actually, a lot of funny people come from there. Not funny, haha, as opposed to funny, strange.
Yeah, I know. I knew that was coming.
Got real Coca-Cola.
Mexican Coke.
Mexican? See,
he's got his Mexican Coke. I got a glass of tea and a nice
Troy likes to show his Coke and say, "See my drink, senor."
Mm-hmm.
I also pulled along and brought chips as well. Little snack.
Chips.
So we had quite a rundown on topics today.
What's your rundown?
Well, we had a whole bunch of different stuff we talked about, but the winner seemed to be lifestyle and lifestyle business, which I thought was great. I think that's something a lot of people are thinking about right now, trapped at home.
Oh, yeah.
Wondering what's going to happen next, right?
And wondering if they actually really want to go to that 45-minute commute back and forth to the office when things
or
come
just
back.
want to go back to work at all. The way things are going, you're just going to go, wow.
There's plenty of work to do. Even when you have a 10% or 15% unemployment rate, it means at the worst, 85% are employed.
At the worst.
At the worst.
At the worst.
But yeah, a lot of people are reconsidering what do they want to do when they grow up.
Yeah, or how do they want to prepare in case this ever happens again? And there's a lot of people who are over
or when it happens again.
or over age 50, like us.
I am over age 50. How did you know?
Holy cow. What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
You know? It's a tough.
Well, we already know that job security is an illusion. Actually, all three of us have known that for many years.
Many years. Because I started doing this in 96.
Yeah, I've been working for myself forever. I mean, and the funny thing is, I used to say that my boss is a real SOB. I happen to be self-employed.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think people. One of the other parts of
space for Troy. I forget.
He needs to use his hands.
Yeah, I couldn't even
watch him. It's like he can't think because he's like
locked in.
Yeah, I realized. I'm sorry, man. There you go.
I usually pace when I'm thinking. He uses his hands when he's thinking.
Yeah. That's
well, okay. I'm just a mover.
And a shaker.
It helps to get things out, so to speak. But I think the other thing, the biggest thing that come into people's mind, I think just about everybody thinks this, is that they want to do something on their own.
Oh yeah.
There are some people that are wanting to be lifelong employees and that kind of thing. And hey, that's fine. But I think a lot of people do want to do something on their own. But the big, like overarching thing that attacks them, so to speak, is can I do it? I mean, forget even kind of the what should I do, but it's the the self-doubt, I'm not good enough. And I would, even if I did whatever it is that they might be thinking about, that nobody would want to buy for me, or would I get enough?
Well, yeah, because a lot of us devalue ourselves. But mind you, I'm not going to denigrate good employees, because we have some great ones, and I'm hoping they don't go out on their own and become entrepreneurs. But if they need to leave the nest, it's okay.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I mean too. I'm just saying that they, lifelong employees, that was not meant to be any sort of, put down or anything. It's just like saying, why should somebody, again, I'm just going to pull a random item that I can't even eat. I can't even have any more cheese, but so like somebody likes cheddar and somebody likes American cheese. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's fine. Whatever, life goes on. Right. So yeah. And I basically, if you choose what you want to do, that's a great thing. At least I know for us in America, we have a lot of freedom of choice. And I think, and around the world, for the most part, there is as well. There's freedom of choice in things. You may have to think about it more creatively, how you execute it and put it into play, depending on where you live. But no, there definitely are people that want to do that. And there are a whole bunch of things that I know a lot of people think of being self-employed, or you're being an entrepreneur. It's all, parties and cake and ice cream all day long and whatever.
And happy hours on Friday.
Yeah.
This is what we look forward to, one day a week. No.
I know.
We have 1 hour, 1 hour a week.
I know. Isn't that crazy though? Because when you are employed, that is kind of like the one thing you live for Friday.
It's so strange. And it's funny because my favorite hashtag that I have used is TGIM. Thank God it's Monday, because I enjoy the fact I can actually reach people who I could not reach during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to Mondays, whereas most people who are working and they're commuting and doing everything else, that's the whole thing about they hate Mondays.
Well, it's an interesting point you bring up too, though, because about reaching people in a sense, because it also depends on what kind of business you run. Because see, we're talking about like for me, straight up digital,
right?
Whereas like in your case, say having a practice or something. Well, yeah, you're going to be, in essence, the Monday through Friday, which is it's a physical business,
right? And I mean, the bricks and mortar world tends to operate on. I mean, in practices, it could be 8 to 6, or I've seen a lot of practices go 9 to 4 with some of my MD friends. God forbid you're not going to catch them in the office at 4:30 on a Friday.
Right.
But for retail, you're going to be open from 10 o'clock, maybe 10 to 10, and having to staff your employees and figure out how you're doing it. But here in Coronado, I know there's a lot of retail businesses. They only run from maybe 9 until 5 or 10 to 6 or something like that. Because it's a small town. We've got 26,000 people, or 25,000, depending on who you believe.
Wow, it's interesting how that number just right at 25 or 26.
It's between, because when you cross the bridge from San Diego to Coronado, it tells you one thing. It says welcome to Coronado, 26,000 something or other. You know that they're not changing that bridge sign every year. And as you go from Coronado into San Diego, it says 1,130,000 people. And I know that's not the same every single year.
Can you imagine if there was a digital sign?
That would be so cool. I would be, but then there'd be more accidents because you'd be trying to figure out what was that number?
It goes up, it goes down.
You can always drag a couple over the bridge with you from the other side.
It's true.
Yeah, because what if you actually leave the town or city, whatever, for a little while? I mean, then the population has changed.
It has changed indeed. But I don't know if everybody's ready for real-time population signs.
Okay, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
But I personally like the idea because it would make my drives more interesting. So,
Indeed it would.
But because other people said it was 24,000 recently. So our population has been shrinking. I have no idea.
Well, hope for good reasons.
I hope so too. It wasn't the number of deaths that have been recorded or so.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
So, John, what is your view then, or initial thoughts of lifestyle business?
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about this the other day. Things have definitely changed over the years. Where when we have kids, we do. I think my son was the original thing that brought me into having my own business, because he is on the autistic spectrum. He requires a lot of extra time. I homeschooled him. And so that was one of the things that really kind of caused me, and I was taking him all over the place all the time. Yeah. So that was one of the things that really caused me to go, man, I got to make a change, because, one of us really needs to be able to take him to appointments and get in places. And now, as time has gone on, I'm closer to retirement. I'm older. My kids are, almost all out of the house. He's the only one still left home, and he's just turned 21 a couple of weeks ago, which was very interesting in itself, to not be able to take your son out for his first drink. We took my daughter out and made a special event out of it. Yeah, we had to do it at home, but that was kind of different. Yeah. But, those were the things that got us wrapped around designing our lifestyles. And then even more so, we've redesigned them now because we like to travel more, and we got an RV. We like to camp and cruise around in it. So those are a lot of things that have kind of changed our views on designing our lifestyle way more than before.
So if we're talking to people that are thinking about doing a lifestyle business, what are you just right there, boom, what are your initial thoughts when a friend came to you and said, hey, I would like to have my own business that is based around what they're telling you, a lifestyle business? What would be your first thoughts, both of you, that you'd give to them?
I'd say first design it with the end in mind.
We're back to Stephen Covey again.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because without the end in mind, you have no way to work. I know. Boom. But you've got no way to work backwards. So it's really important to have the end in mind and then work backwards.
Well, I think your big why, I've heard that long before Tony Robbins was in existence. The big why, the powerful why, will make a big difference. And you mentioned, when you have a child, was it Ryan Levesque or somebody who was listening to you recently had a child that became extremely ill, which is why he quit the corporate world to move back to have
a lot of that
home-based business. And for me, a lot of it revolved around, I had an office in DC and I was working for another friend of mine too. And both my parents became ill simultaneously the day before their 55th wedding anniversary. And so I spent a lot of time commuting from DC up to Buffalo, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it finally got to the point where I realized that I could no longer take care of my patients in the way that they had been accustomed. And I had to move into the digital world primarily. And even though I was still seeing patients here and there, I pretty much moved from full-time chiropractor to part-time chiropractor, part-time digital entrepreneur, and then into full-time entrepreneur. I even got the California license out here, but I just couldn't see myself going back into the office again, because once I escaped the exam room, I'm thinking to myself, my gosh, it's so much easier to work in a digital world as it is to having patients coming in and scheduled appointments and dealing with staff members and others. And so, I mean, staff, actually, I love my staff. I used to take them to seminars and take them all over the country. But having a bricks and mortar business is, I believe, far more challenging than having being a digital doctor or a digital marketer.
Overhead alone.
Yeah. I mean, the overhead, I would say if somebody wants a lifestyle business, make it really a lifestyle business. Now, there's some people who want to be 7-figure, 8-figure earners. And if you want to be an 8-figure earner getting 10 million or more, in that situation, you need an office, you need a lot of staff, you need HR, you need a lot of other things. But people can survive in mid to high 6 figures, 7-figure businesses, having themselves and maybe 1 or 2 part-time employees.
That's a good point you bring up, because like we've talked about in previous streams, for me, I was always that huge number. And as I started earning, I realized that quite early on, meaning like not even close to that huge number, I was able to live the life that I really wanted to live. And that's really what the end goal was to have that kind of lifestyle. And so it was really an interesting and an eye-opening thing for me to really realize that, because I thought I understood what I needed to do to reach that kind of lifestyle, but it happens a lot sooner.
It reminds me of it was Jim Rohn or somebody was talking about this millionaire he was an investor, and he went to some Mexican fishing village someplace, and this guy was just made this wonderful meal fresh off the boat, and he would just go out and fish and bring back the food and everything. And the guy wanted to turn it into a big business for him, and he said, he says, you need to just hire more people and do this and do that and advertise and everything else like that. And he said, well, why would I want to do that? He says, well, eventually you grow a really big business, and at some point in the future, then you can retire and go fishing. He says, I'm doing that now. Why do I have to go through all that?
Yeah, exactly. Everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect as it is. Why would I want to go through all those trials and tribulations to have the life that I now have?
That reminds me of something else funny. It's kind of unrelated, but it's related at the same time. So one of my friends, he does a lot of search optimization work, and he's always posting his results, and he's got some spectacular results from, watching searches on Google for these different terms. He showed one the other day with searches not rising, but tanking with what's gone on over the last month. And he goes, I think what I really need to do is reread Who Moved My Cheese.
Yeah.
And I sent him, I made a comment on his post, because I think it's the same guys that wrote Who Moved My Cheese to talk about the story of the ponies. There's this young lad, and they ask him to go shovel the manure out of the stables, and he's just shoveling away. And he's like, I just don't know how much more of this I can possibly do. The one guy says, the other guy goes, are you kidding me? Somewhere in here, there's got to be a pony. I mean, look at all this stuff.
You see the evidence.
So I was saying to Ed, I said, don't worry, Ed, there's a pony in there somewhere. I think there might even be 2. Just keep digging, buddy.
Digging.
But we design our lives kind of the same way. There's those things we try to avoid, and those things we try to get closer to.
And being as efficient as possible too, using productivity. If you have a business that you've really designed as a lifestyle business, you should be able to take care of it and grow it by yourself, or maybe with a minimal number of employees, because you're going to have automation in place. You're going to have a lot of productivity tips and tricks that you're using, and you're going to be at a point where you really enjoy the business, as opposed to being some sort of an opportunity that you feel that you have to do. It's the list of your want tos, as opposed to, oh God, I have to do this and that. And offloading as many of these tasks as possible that you either don't want to do or you're really not that good at.
And that brings up then two things come to mind. So one from the pony example.
That was an off track.
My little pony.
Yes. Are you a brony, Dr. V?
A brony? I don't even know what a brony is.
Bronies are guys that are way into My Little Pony.
No, I'm not. I just thought John was into My Little Pony.
No.
Okay. I'm not, says Dr. V. Anyway.
Just a story.
Okay, so the grind and high paying job, those are two thoughts that come to
it. I like it.
So number one, John, you remember the grind part if I get lost. And that because that relates to the pony.
Okay.
And then
I think ground pony is it's not as appetizing as it sounds.
Grind.
The grind.
Don't grind your pony.
No. No.
It may work in France where they eat horses, but not here in the United States.
No. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Well, remember
these pictures in my head.
All right, never mind. I was going to go downhill real quick. But anyway.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
So.
Wow.
So
Dr. Pony. Maybe Friday. Don't fry pony.
Dr. V makes me think of something of what a lot of people do, and I have even fallen into it to where you, in essence, earlier on, I created basically a high-paying job, which you then can, hate or dislike. Even though I think if you really stopped at the same time and looked at it, it's better off because you still have freedom. You know what I mean? A lot, and that for me, that's the biggest reason why I did it, because I guess, for a lack of a better way to describe it, is I don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
But I really, really educate myself and learn about things. And so it's hard for me to go into an environment where I have somebody, even when I did the corporate scenario for the internet marketing, where I set up every program, ran everything, and I was the VP, I still was not the owner. And the owner was kind of a guy that would just read an article or a book and have an idea of the minute. So I was always putting out fires in one sense because he wanted to take things a different way, and we were doing, killer on the goals that we had and all the plans and everything like that. So it's just like, hey, you know what? Just go. Don't come into the office. You're good. You know what I mean? So for me, that's just a frustrating situation to be in. Right. And so for me to go work for somebody else in that same type of scenario again, it just has to things have to be just perfect. So it's easy to then, when you're working for yourself, is to really create a high paying job where you really don't like it. But then I think you still have the opportunity to then go, okay, let me step back and let me look at things and organize things differently. So if people do start something for a lifestyle business and you find yourself falling into that trap, it's not the end of the world. Don't, wish you never got into it and start, going, I just should have stayed with, just relax and take a breather and really step back and reformulate. Because like you say, begin with the end in mind, even though you have that, the end may adjust. And so, you're now having to work back another way, but that's the thing, you're always learning. And so don't just, again, throw out the baby with the bathwater. But if you find yourself having created a high paying job to where it's not, then it's taken away from what you really wanted to appreciate and live, then make the adjustment.
Well, then you redesign it, you tweak it, you figure out a way to make it into your lifestyle business as opposed to a high paying job.
And reach out to other people because they can help you. Like in this scenario, we're trying to help people understand that, hey, if you do go ahead and decide to do something like that, you may have to readjust. So at least in your mind, that ahead of time, where it's interesting. If I have a perspective ahead of time going into something, it helps me look at things differently as I'm going down the path versus just going, hey, I've a great idea. And I'm only going the only way that I can think about it. But having other people to, and that's the great thing about being online and being able to even do these lives and also just even like video chat. In fact, I pulled up John yesterday for a wild harebrained idea that I had, and then Facebook kind of kiboshed it the way I wanted to do it and whatever, but
it's still a fun idea.
Yeah, it's still great to be able to bounce things off other people.
Absolutely.
And have them give you a perspective sometimes on things.
Especially in stuff like this, because it's a huge, huge perspective. Hey, I just wanted to break in too and say that if anybody watching us wants to come in and talk about their perspective and how they're trying to design something around their lifestyle, or maybe just want some advice on it, feel free to pop in. I've posted links a couple places, and that link brings you like right in here, and we'll let you come talk with us. So feel free to do that. It's Friday.
I need to put that link in too. I've shared it to one group that I manage and 2 other pages, and so I got to pull that link in too.
So if you want to stop in and like this is a popular topic right now. I mean, there's so many people. This is what's running through their head. What happens if this continues? What happens if somebody in my family gets ill? Where do I go?
This is a big one.
So many different things going on that relate to this. So timely topic, I think. Glad you suggested it.
Yeah. Then here's the other one, the grind. I think also a lot of people underestimate what it's going to take because they do fall into the trap of seeing a lot of these. Hey, you're going to be, like we talked kind of about yesterday, you're going to be a 7-figure marketer just by watching this one webinar. And it's going to happen overnight. Well, I can speak, for example, with, again, the live event marketers group. I'm grinding away at that, reaching out to people to tell them about it, to explain to them what it is, all those kind of things. And there hasn't been anything that I haven't ground or that I was really grinding to build, because I think that's kind of, there is an audience that does want to hear that message. Hey, no real effort or very little, and you're going to reap this huge reward. Well, there are exceptions to the rule, you know what I mean? Where there are some things where maybe all of a sudden, you got a good tip on a stock or something and you bought it and it went up and then you sold it. But that is the exception to the rule. Most stocks you're going to buy and hold kind of thing, as an example. So in other words, over time, it's going to have its value. And that's the same thing with the businesses. You're going to grind it out and build it. And then it will start to then reward you with the types of things that you want. You may have some certain wins that come up sooner than others, but understand that if things are not working in your lifestyle business that you're choosing to do, again, it's not been enough time. 2, you're not grinding it out enough. You're not putting in enough effort. And 3, you might need to make some adjustments. And any combination of those. But what I want people to do is have the right perspective going into any kind of business, lifestyle or not.
Right.
That it can be done. Period. End of statement. It's, will you just pay the particular price that it takes, and that's both mentally and literally out of your pocket. But it can be done, and it for some people takes longer than others. And the whole point to me is just, and that the thing I've always told friends is, as long as you arrive though, so maybe somebody did something, and it took them maybe a year and a half or something to kind of get at least where they're starting to see fruits of their labor. And then somebody else been doing something like, I've been doing this for like 4 years, and I'm just now barely getting to where I'm just even starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, Hank, but look, you've got all that momentum, and who cares? You know what? Who cares what it took? You're now getting there. That's the, you know what I mean? Like,
that's
yes, it would be nicer to have been sooner. Yes, I completely agree. But the fact is you will arrive.
Yep. But you can get there sooner, but it's either going to take an investment of time or money. I should say mostly money, because if you can have the budget to promote what you're doing, you can shorten your time frame. But if you're willing to put in the sweat and reach out to people through, like what one of my friends calls beating the bushes, like reaching out to people on Facebook Messenger and Twitter and LinkedIn and engaging in real conversations, it's time consuming, but you're going to save a lot of cash.
Now, I agree with that. And I also have a little asterisk that I'll put on there, is that you can have a lot of money, but you can also trust the wrong teachings of how to use that money.
That's for sure.
And, empty your bank account really quick and you have nothing to show for it, so to speak.
True.
Yes. End up upside down and out of luck.
So I agree that having more money and then properly implemented does actually shorten the.
I mean, if you look at promotion, if you're building authority and getting your name out there and want to be everywhere, that kind of omnipresence it is many times dependent upon the amount of cash that you put behind your promotions, not necessarily the people you hire, but how you invest in getting your name out there and promoting your products and services and things like that.
Yep.
I mean, you don't have to have a big direct mail campaign anymore, although direct mail is making a comeback.
It is.
Because, I mean, it's interesting with everybody getting emails and email newsletters and everything else like that. There is an opportunity for direct mail to get people's attentions. And I'll tell you that I often will see a single postcard from somebody that may get me to think more than 10 or 12 emails from that same person.
I watch myself shove basically a Pringle in my mouth.
I was watching that.
Welcome to Watch Troy shove Pringles in his mouth. The Friday edition.
I was wondering, how many people were literally looking at that and going like, wow, look at that guy just shove a whole Pringle in his mouth.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate in broadcasting, watching someone eat a Pringle live.
Hey, do you know that some of the most popular live videos are people shoving a cheeseburger in their face and eating?
Those eating videos, I think they're called
eating things.
Mukbang, where they eat a whole,
yes, that's it.
A bunch of food kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
is that what we're branching out into right now? Or?
Actually, it's a lifestyle thing, believe it or not. It really could be.
Yeah.
You can really create anything around any passion. So if your passion's eating, you got to go right there. Mukbang right here, Mr. Chip Eater. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And so that's probably the next thing about lifestyle. If we can, do you want to say something?
John,
finish up.
I do want to point out though, John, before you bring on the next point.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was referring to the pony part and how that meant grind is that again, he's just grinding out that effort. And so,
sorry, I'm just thinking of little pony
ground
burgers.
Ponies thinking
Pony burgers.
No.
But, and if you are interested in pursuing a career in mukbang, be sure to floss.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
I would not be surprised if we didn't see some YouTube channel popping up with Dr. V.
I'm not going to be munching on food. My latest channel.
Well, so the reason that I was thinking about that after you mentioned it is that I think the other thing is so many people have a passion for food. We've been talking about this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you're thinking about a lifestyle business, the other thing is to maybe make it around something that you're really passionate about because it makes it a lot easier to grow that. And I know that's another thing that we've looked at recently because, we do a lot of things that are passion projects that people have an interest in. And we're trying to redesign some things around that so that we're making an additional income or whatever on some of these, what we call passion projects.
Were you talking like a side hustle or a full-blown lifestyle business?
It could be either. I could see where it could work out to be either. It's definitely something that could turn into a full business at some point. Now it'd be more like a little bit of a side hustle.
Yeah.
That's hard to say.
Too, the fact that you mentioned side hustle, because that's the thing is kind of like living in both worlds. So you still want to be employed, but then you have something else that's, again, a passion that you have. And you can either build that up while you're working for somebody else, not to go cold turkey.
Yeah, and when your side hustle income exceeds your regular income, then it's probably time to ditch the job.
And some people actually will still want to just have the side hustle because it's them. It's kind of like their escape, but they don't want to build it into a full on, kind of thing.
That's how I originally got started. Was from a side hustle in finance. I got started doing that, and it gave me a lot of skills in marketing and sales that I didn't have. So it actually helped me to then move into where I am now.
Well,
money.
My wife actually keeps telling me how to do a YouTube channel, again, food related, because again, we have the food allergies. I have a lot of different things that I've come up with and how I go about it, whatever. But honestly, I mean, I can relate. However, to me, I'm like, I'm not I don't have a passion for it, meaning, because to me, it's like, I really love marketing. And to me, I do the cooking and the learning about it, and, what things work and what's a good substitute for this, and how, how the food combines to make it. So I feel like I'm really eating real food that's not, that's not bland, or,
Right.
I can tell I'm not eating the thing that I think I'm trying to bake myself into eating,
Right.
And I know there's a lot of people that would really be interested in it, but I don't have a passion for it. Like, I cook and I do all the different stuff and bake and whatever for myself. And I do share with some friends that I know that are like locally, but I just don't have a passion for that. So
yeah, well, we have Chris, my wife is a Mexican food blogger, but we do have clients in the agency who are also food bloggers, and those who are into paleo and all natural or raw eating and things like that. I mean, they are just totally dedicated to gluten-free or paleo or whatever, and they're always experimenting with recipes and publishing and shooting videos and photos and everything. That's and blogging is in the food industry is really tough. It's heavy labor intensive stuff.
But
the passion helps people get through it.
I was gonna say, the one thing you can do, though, a lot of times, maybe you've got a particular passion for something. We tend to run in the same circles with other people who have similar passions. And, you might not really be passionate about the recipe side of it, but you know how to run the business side of it.
Right.
You might run into somebody who is very passionate about the cooking side of it, can't market themselves out of a paper bag, that you could really help, and you guys could team up on a project. And I've done that with a lot of people.
Which is great. Yeah. I mean, that gives you opportunity. You can do video production. You can help them with live. You can do all kinds of things. I mean, years ago, was it a year ago? Maybe 18 months ago, we had a live cooking show every night at 7 p.m. And that was, it was a Facebook Live, and people commenting back and forth and the ingredients. And sometimes you forget an ingredient, or, suddenly my hand comes in giving the extra spatula, so this, but it's yeah, here you go. And it's one of those things where you really need to have that passion to carry you through. But a lot of people, you're right, they lack the technical knowledge. They have to become good food photographers, for example, or they have to become somebody who has a degree of expertise in video production, or at least who knows how to push the damn button.
Right. And if you want to learn if you want to do something in cooking and you don't know how to cook, it might not be the thing for you.
No.
Just saying. So I mean, there is that too, because a lot of times we think, oh, I'd really be good at that. And some things you can study up to be an expert on.
I should start a travel blog while I'm in quarantine.
We were going to start a travel blog with our RV travels, because we like to RV around a lot. And I see all these people doing videos of it, and I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. It'd be an excuse for me to buy a drone, which would be kind of fun.
Buy a drone?
Yeah, buy a drone and make it a business expense.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, so, I think we could do that now. We could just soar in over fresh tacos.
Yeah. So sometimes you can design things too that actually make it financially beneficial.
Yeah.
To create something that you benefit from in that way, because most people don't realize, as business owners, we have something called write-offs.
Well, having deductions is amazing. I mean,
it is amazing.
A Schedule C is an area where when the first time you see a Schedule C, you're thinking, wow, I can do this and that and this and that, and it's all legal.
Why would I have ever done anything else?
Exactly.
Well, that's what it starts to come down to too. You see a lot of that, and you go, wow, it's pretty beneficial to us. There are a lot of benefits to business owners that most people don't see unless they really, really look into, really, really look into all the aspects of it. So,
well, on the downside is payroll. If you get to be too big, the payroll expenses.
Payroll. And I love that you mentioned the story of the fisherman. It's one I always remember.
You remember that fisherman?
I remember that fisherman.
Hey, it's Fish Friday.
It's a common story, and it's true that we get into business for different reasons. And some people who build really big businesses, it's because they have that passion to really want to create something huge that helps other people and employs other people and all of that. That might not be you, and that's okay.
Because some people will build big businesses and regret building the big business, and then they'll either sell the business, which is one good strategy, and start a new one, or they'll just scale it down to the point where it becomes more manageable, and it changes from big business to lifestyle business.
Right.
I wanted to touch on something that John talked about, where basically where you're joint venturing or connecting with other people that have a skill set or something that they can, contribute to your business. And that actually is huge, because a lot of people, and I'm trying to remember, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. I think it might be something called The System, but it's where a lot of people, it's either one of two books. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but
right.
It's about a lot of people who do start businesses because they have a skill set in a particular area. So in other words, like a plumber, he may know how to do all this stuff with plumbing, but he doesn't know how to necessarily run a business. So, so they get into a business, but they really don't know how to run it. Right. So that's something to think about, is you may have a core competency or something that you're good at. And then you just get into business. And then again, that's where you can create that business where it really becomes a high paying job. So working with other people is huge. Even if it's just for the simple fact of bouncing ideas off of, or asking for information on their expertise. So like you would ask your accountant, right? Well, what's the best way for me to expand in this area? And he can tell you, well, like, again, you have write-offs, whatever it is.
Sure.
But that's also, again, the strength of like the group that I've put together more recently with the live streams.
It is.
And you kind of heard me talk about it. And I'm going to keep beating the bush and sounding the horn, that if you're in the group, just to drop a link for a live stream that you're doing, and you're not interacting with the other people, either behind the scenes, with the direct message, or, liking their thing, and or posting questions, comments and stuff, to where you're looking to build those relationships. Again, being that one man band. And when I use the word man, I hope nobody gets offended, because that's the
one person band.
Yeah. For everybody.
These people.
That's where the real strength is, because even if you say like, okay, I'm self-employed, well, the reality is it's me. And for example, I bounce ideas off of you guys and other people, and I have an accountant, and so the reality is it's not really just me, but the buck stops here, so to speak. But you do need to reach out and connect with like-minded people. And again, that's where my group is based around, that like-minded people for doing live streams and live events, that, you're with your people, your crowd, your
tribe.
Sure.
And you're able to say, like, well, how have you handled that? Or, hey, I like the way you do that thing with your, how do you do that? Well, you can get the advice from somebody that, maybe you normally would have had to pay for, because, all you could find was a course on it, versus like actually reaching out to somebody who did it, and they're just like, oh yeah, you need to do this.
Yeah. Like where can I get one of those sheets that Troy has?
Yeah.
Well, again, the signature series is just
the signature series is available.
Here, I'm just saying the corner of everyone. But I love that concept, because even just live streaming in general, look at how much people are learning just by watching us. They know that they already know your expertise. They know a lot about me, that I'm involved in agency work and live video. They know about Dr. V's expertise with
grinding ponies,
doctors, and no pony grinding.
No pony grinding. No. That's a side hustle.
Monkey grinding? No, pony grinding. Anyway. Yeah. So, look at how much people have already learned about us, right? Because we're getting out there and we're being visible and we're networking, and this is our form of it. And they're picking up a lot of useful information, even just about us talking about stuff.
And speaking of networking, we can talk later about creating something. I know that you've got some amazing stuff, John, with networking or live event type software, where we might be able to take it for a test run.
Yes,
that'd be fun. Actually,
there's a lot of that stuff too. Yeah, because people are trapped at home right now. So that's like a whole nother avenue that. We're all kind of starved for.
So many. In fact, I've seen people launching products or courses now who had planned live events for May or for June, and they're pretty much all going virtual at this point.
Yeah, I even saw a post today, a woman that I know that does live events, and who really said, I don't know whether I'm going to have a business or not after this is all done, and I don't really care. Because it's caused me to be introspective about what I really want. And I think there's actually some things about my business that I'm not sure I want.
Yeah, meeting planning and event planning is very stressful in the real world. I have two friends who have a business who do that. And man, just negotiating with hotels and trying to figure out what the food service is going to be like, and people checking in and making sure you've got the right number of blocks of rooms and the discounts. And it's a major, you're juggling 10, 12 balls in the air when you are actually a live event or a meeting planner.
Right. So a lot of this lifestyle stuff, as I was saying to Troy earlier, we were talking before we got on, has actually created kind of a spiritual awakening for people that they're really soul searching, trying to figure out what they want to do, who they
or even just a psychological thing, which is how much pain do I want in my life versus how much pleasure?
Yeah.
Just be for the basics. I mean, do you enjoy what you're doing? I maintain for my doctor clients and just for anybody in business, if you're not having fun in business, it's probably time to get out or make a major change.
Because this should be fun. This should be at least.
It has to be enjoyable. There has to be pleasure associated with having your own business.
We all have our up and down days, but overall,
I had 2 terrible hours this morning, and now things are a lot better. So I don't think that, if somebody tells me they're having a bad day, I tend not to believe them. Or for me, the whole bad day concept doesn't really exist, because I may have 2 or 3 bad hours or 1 bad hour or something like that. But by and large, you can find something good or do something different so that the whole day is not wasted.
Well, they tell you at 11 a.m. they're having a bad day, and you're like, okay, well,
there's a lot more hours left. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting. It is just an expression, but it is interesting, that really they take the first few hours of a day in a sense and group it into the whole day.
It is the whole day. No, I go hour by hour. If I was really having a bad day, sometimes this happened with my parents who are both in the hospital. It's like, well, I survived 10 to 11. Let's see how we do from 11 to 12.
That's actually an interesting point that you bring up, though, is against that, like we've talked a few streams back or whatever, we're talking about like an ebb and flow.
Yeah. There's a rhythm.
You're going
even the day has a rhythm. You're asleep and then you're awake. There's a rhythm right there.
Yeah. And just because you're having a
bad hour or a bad phone call
or even a period of time, again, that's why I say ebb and flow, where in your business, you're like, maybe it's gotten to where it's just a high paying job, but you want to go, all right. Like John even mentioned, I mean, people having a more of an awakening of like almost a reevaluation time. I mean, I think this is a great time that
it is
can go, okay, wow, just hold on a minute here. What do I want? What am I achieving? And I don't even care how old you are either. Like, you can have 1 foot in the grave, but man, it's time to reboot, restart, do what you want. You know what I mean?
Well, I always think of Colonel Sanders when he got his first Social Security check, and he looks at it and says, I can't live on this.
Sure. Yeah.
And then a fast food empire comes from that.
Same thing happened with Ray Kroc to a certain extent, too. Lots of big things come from that.
Yeah.
There's usually something in your life that kind of pushes you to that point.
Yeah, there's a revelation. And for some, it's they hit bottom and then bounce up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different points like that. So I had to go over and look to see who's blowing me up over on my personal page.
Somebody's blowing you up on your personal page?
Yeah, it's John Vaughn. So if you're listening, John, how you doing, man?
John Vaughn, whoever you are, get in here. Click the link. Let's see your face.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm watching all these. I'm going, where are all the laughing faces coming from and stuff? And I went over to my personal page and I can see.
You didn't have any angry faces, did you?
No.
Sad faces.
We had some sad faces and stuff going on. I didn't quite figure that one out, but it's pretty funny. Okay. So.
Any sad ponies or whatever there?
No sad ponies.
No ground ponies.
None of that either.
We will grind no ponies on these broadcasts.
Grind no ponies. So is there any stone that we left unturned today?
Any stone? Any pony unground?
We're still digging out the ponies there, Dr. V. We'll let you know when you can.
There's got to be a pony in there somewhere.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know when you can come in with your grinder.
I hope there's nobody from PETA listening.
Hey,
really in trouble.
Organ grinder.
They're gonna ban us.
I think we're told to put a whole organ inside that grinder.
Oh my gosh!
It's just a pipe dream.
A pipe dream.
So Troy, here's the thing. how do you feel about this whole notion? Can you be more specific about when you get to the point where you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur, and you have created just a high-paying job versus being the owner of a business?
Hmm.
What do you mean by the?
Well, because if you're doing everything in your lifestyle business, you said that you're sort of becoming like you're just a high-paid employee because you really haven't delegated. You
are the business.
You are the business, and if you take off for 2 weeks, the business goes down.
So that's a bit of a challenge.
That seems like just a high-paying job.
Yes, no, I agree, and that's where when we talked, I think it was, man, it's so seriously, it so bleeds together. I think it was it was yesterday. It was yesterday when we talked about me having, again, been around the whole internet marketing spectrum, and I did do everything. When I say everything, like, I mean, yeah, I did hire out some things to like programmers and whatnot, but yeah, I was the chief cook and bottle washer.
Sure.
But and I did enjoy it to a degree because I felt like really important because, man, like I
well,
know,
yeah,
I can
look at how great I am. I've been down that road too.
Yeah. And I think the younger you are, that doesn't bother you as much because it is sort of an ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get older, or at least in my experience, it's like, well, I mean, that's nice and all, but I really want to, again, have the lifestyle versus the titles, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I then actually pulled back what I did in general, just what the business was. That was a reevaluation of what I wanted to focus on, that I found the most enjoyment in. That if somebody were to, find me walking down the street and say, "Oh, you're Troy McDonald, and you're about list building," and and they started talking to me, and I didn't know them from anybody, which, I mean, I'm a talker, but some people, like, if they come up to you, you'd be like, "Well, who in the world are you?" But they start talking my language. I mean, I'm spilling it all, like, I'm driven by list building. I mean, that's always been something that I've been really passionate about and that I enjoy, but yet I've, set up and run affiliate programs from scratch. I've set up ad campaigns from scratch, and I've been there and done all of that. But that's where I think, pull it back to where you enjoy it. And then there is the part of delegating certain parts out to it. And actually today we have more technology and more tools than I had. Again, like John mentioned this yesterday, I think, if I remember correctly, that, well, you kind of had to do it all in a sense, and you had to kind of figure it all out because there wasn't much to.
There was nobody specializing.
Yeah, or no options to do it. Yeah. So, and that's why it was easy to fall on that track, but you have to realize that you don't have to stay there.
I think it was me that mentioned that.
Yeah.
They all blend together into one long stream.
That's what happens after a while.
And I do find them all fascinating, but I think it's just part of that getting older thing. Like, because when when you're young, you're like a little, like, squirrel, 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 and you can like them all, and you're willing to. But as you go older,
don't forget the pony.
Don't forget the pony.
Pony.
Bike. I know. It is what happens.
It is what happens. So lifestyle. So the question is, do you want to be a business owner, or do you want the business to own you?
That is the next question.
If you live just for the business, is that a lifestyle business?
Well, I mean, if you're, say if you're a single person and
sole proprietor with no help.
Well, I mean, and what I mean singles and not married or whatever, and so you have nothing else that you want to pour yourself into.
There is no family time for you.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I'm not knocking that, because some people really are passionate and they want to do, so there's many ways to skin the pony, but
not a cat.
Not a cat.
Why would you skin a pony?
Hey, because we were keeping on theme. We keep on theme here.
Okay, saddle up. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Giddy up. Let's go. So, you know what I mean? So everybody just needs to look at our suggestions and mold it into their experience and what they want to have. And to, again, start looking around, start reaching out and asking questions, because I know sometimes people hear experts speak and then they go, well, that's the only way that I can do it, or that's the only ways it can be done.
Right.
And actually there's almost infinite ways that almost anything can be done. But, again, write down certain stuff and then start reaching out to people and saying, hey, I want to do this. Do you think I can go about it this way or whatever? And then, and then you mold that, or you have to cross that one off, because it's just, no, there's no way that you can sit at home, not talk to anybody, don't do any advertising, don't have a product, and just make money. No, that's not going to work.
You're just going to go push a button and suddenly cash comes out. It's not like having your own business is going to be an ATM.
No, I was going to say there is one option to what you mentioned, where you are you've created your own high-paying job, but there's a lot of people who go and they create a lot of passive income behind themselves, and they've really put themselves in a great position. They may be the solo owner of the company, but they have big assets behind them because they put together the development of this passive income generation. And there are quite a few. They're not many people like that.
Anybody who comes up, anybody who comes up with a SaaS business usually puts themselves in a position like that too. They've got their programmers, they've got everybody else out there, and they have a recurring model too.
Or other royalties and arrangements.
Royalties, things like that, where you do have that degree.
Affiliate connections or things like that that put them in a great position.
But those people they're massaging those connections and talking to people, and it's never really totally passive, but it's an easier income stream when you're connecting with people and when you're being kind and helpful.
Right, and that's the one aspect where you can be alone but not totally alone.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have a lot of other stuff behind you going.
Well, John, it's interesting you bring that up, because again, I being in my own world, I was already assuming passive was part of the model. You know what I mean? Because that's like what mine is. You have again, passive is relative. I mean, there's still maintenance and things you still have to do for that, but what effort you put in is expanded when it comes out the other side.
Leverage on the other side.
Leveraged, yeah.
And so I highly, highly recommend building some form of that into your lifestyle business. And I dare say that you have to, if to have a real lifestyle business, or one that,
a real business in general.
Yeah. Or one that has less stress, because when a certain amount is kind of coming in, again, more or less, you have ebbs and flows, but that creates a lot less stress.
Yes.
Well, and you have that baseline or safety net. No matter what happens, I know there's this is coming in.
Right.
Now, on that note, I do want to touch on affiliate stuff.
Yeah.
Affiliate stuff should only be a certain portion of your business, because, as an example, like what Amazon has done recently, they just basically snipped off all the commissions pretty much.
Half is gone.
So people who built a business around strictly Amazon products are now, up the creek, so to speak. So I learned this a long time ago, that it should only be a certain percentage of your business, because, again, in this case, if you're heavily reliant upon one particular company, and that's, again, what you should do is not be reliant on one particular company. You should be diversified, and understand that not all companies, but some do, they use an affiliate program initially. And when I say initially, still could be for quite a long time, but they do that to grow their business and their name and their brand. Then they will basically either cut the flow, or they'll say, thank you, we are now closing our affiliate program.
Yeah.
Or I've seen this even with Amazon, having dabbled. I had 2 years of heavy duty e-commerce, where sometimes Amazon will then find out who the manufacturer is, and they will create their own Amazon choice or product version of yours and cut you out completely.
A lot more of that going on these days than used to happen. Somebody I was reading about the other day said that exact same thing, that they great thing going. They created a product. They're making all kinds of money in it. And then Amazon went and created one that went into direct competition with them.
Remarkably similar.
More than remarkably similar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like they snuck into their house at night and threw something together.
I mean, I do believe, I believe more and more than anything else, Amazon is basically about data. It's all about collecting data and then using it or selling it or doing whatever they may say that they're not doing it, but it's all about aggregating data.
It's a big business with the GDP of.
Do you also know that? Okay, now again, this is what I've heard. I haven't heard Amazon come out with this or whatever, but they are supposedly making their big money from, again, their infrastructure. So all their computer services that they have.
AWS,
yeah. So I mean, again, they're just. I don't think they might have started out that way. I mean, it was Bezos was wanting to
selling books,
but it has shifted into basically data, and then the infrastructure that they sell that basically you can tap into for whatever.
And distribution too.
Oh yeah, exactly. So
data distribution. Yeah. It's like Walmart is a great distribution behemoth. They were called in. Weren't they called into Katrina back in Louisiana because they could move a lot faster than even FEMA could?
I don't know.
It was very interesting. Yeah, Walmart was called in for their expertise in distribution. So a business is not always what it appears to be on the surface.
Yeah.
So
let's have a lifestyle business and not become the next Walmart.
Any other final thoughts? So we're coming up on the hour.
I think you're the architect of your own destiny, and the question is, as John mentioned earlier, begin with the end in mind. Go with the whole Stephen Covey idea. You don't necessarily have to go to your obituary, but at least you can have a sense of how can I create a business that will look so good that I can eventually sell it? What's your exit strategy? And I think for a lot of people in a lifestyle business, nobody ever thinks about an exit strategy other than physically leaving the planet.
That one's going to come and get you to exit whether you want it to or not.
Your final exit strategy.
Yeah. One thing we can be sure of: death and taxes.
My last comment would be to really, really think about your network, and so that relates to, again, like an example of what I'm doing with live event marketers. It is really about a network. So if people think, again, it's about just somewhere where you can just see what live events or streams are happening or coming up. Again, that's just a portion of it. It's really about like-minded people getting together that I am already tapping into, and other people should be doing the same.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a network will always improve your net worth.
I agree. It definitely has that potential if, again, you use it, because people have networks they don't tap into.
True. Yeah.
And then the other thing is the same thing with an affiliate program. So having run an affiliate program before and setting one up is for example, another network. And if done properly, it is another channel for distribution and whatnot. So again, to me, networking is huge. Again, it's a leverage point. To me, a network is a distribution channel. And then I want to talk, so my last point again about networks is the simple fact that when you're just getting into one, even if you're an expert, but you're coming into a new network, your name still may mean something, but you still may have to work yourself into that network. Too many people think that, I'm part of a network, and because the fact of it's a network, I'm going to get all this leverage. Well, no, you have to earn / work that network, because again, a lot of people don't want to do the grind work. So even for me, building out the network, well, I'm grinding right now the fact of bringing people into the network, helping educate them about what the network it is, how to use the network, and all those kind of things. So, and I think some people kind of think, well, why do I want to do that? Like that's a lot of work. I do want to emphasize that you are going to grind at some point, or again, that ebb and flow, you're going to have times where you're really grinding, and you need to do that. And or you have a staff or it's hired out to do that portion of the work. But hey, let me just tell you, you're going to work. It's not, again, it's not push button like Dr. V talks about, where you just push a button and the cash falls out. That can sort of happen in Vegas, but what you'll find out is you're putting more cash in than falls out when you press the button. So that's a color loss. But again, to me, my whole processing of things is, how do I create distribution channels? How do I create leverage so then I can take an idea of mine and plug those in, and I may still have to even grind them, but then on the other side, what comes out, is I want to say exponential when it's not actually always exponential, but basically more comes out the other side than what I put in the beginning. And the other thing is, you can get some stuff that's perpetual, or at least lasts longer than just a quick flash in a pan. I like flash in a pan money because some of them happen, and they're worth it. But I do like to build things that are longer sustained. They're not always things that are forever. But anyway, that's how I'm always thinking about, how can I take this and make it a leverage point, a distribution channel, and a network. And it always involves other people to some degree. So
yeah, well, and your distribution. I think the other thing about distribution channel, it's not about you distributing, hey, I got these products and expertise and stuff. It's distributing your helpfulness, distributing your advice, distributing your wisdom to people within a network, so that you are not just seen as a taker, but you're seen as a giver.
I really appreciate you pointing that out, because that is true. When I say distribution channel, I mean that you are actively part of that channel, that network. Because again, that's what I even say with the live event marketers group. If people come in and just think like, well, I'm going to distribute, boom, here's my event, I'm out of here, and I'm not interacting with anybody. I just coming in to take and whatever. Believe you me, if you're coming into a place, even if you're an expert, I've seen experts come in and like, I've got a name and I'm a brand, and I'm going to come in and boom, I'm going to drop something. And yeah, they might get a few sparks of something, but they usually just fall flat on their face, because people just see them as coming in to just take from the network, and the network just closes up on you like that. And you basically can actually do some bad publicity for yourself.
Well, I mean, at the very least, people will ignore you.
At the very least.
Yeah, at the very least.
So,
John,
are you all set? Is my turn?
Your turn.
All right. So my final thoughts on it. I'm glad this is a topic we had a chance to discuss, because I think it's an unprecedented time in history. I mean, the last time we've seen anything like this was the great pandemic way back in the early 1900s. And the fact that we're all kind of looking at this and really trying. My favorite saying these days is "you be you," and I hear my friend Ken Stone saying "sink into who you really are." And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing more of that around me. People looking at things in a different way, looking at things more clearly, awakening to the fact that they have lost a lot of enjoyment in their life. And it's great to see people walking up and down the streets with their kids and playing games and doing puzzles with them again. And that's all stuff that relates to what we've talked about today. And I think that's all things to kind of really embrace and take into consideration. You've looked at what's gone on here for the time that you've had. Really dig into that, settle into that, and it's a chance to really sink into who you really are. And maybe changing your lifestyle and creating a business around that is a way to go for you. So that's my final thought for today.
Good. We just finished our 1,000-piece puzzle last night.
There you go. Look, there's a lot of that. We've been selling puzzles on eBay like crazy.
It's good.
So, yeah.
All right. So create your lifestyle business. Do it in style.
Absolutely. Enjoy.
Ride your pony into style.
Exactly. All right.
You may have an axe to grind, but don't grind your pony.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
All right. See you, everybody.
See you.